there, thanks for joining me. Today I have a wacky card for you. I had a lot of fun just playing in my art studio and I came up with this design. And my inspiration was using the in colours and some black and white. So these are the colours that I chose for my card. And I'm going to use the Blossom Builder punch and my basic black marker. And I'm starting with the Island Indigo piece, and I'm just drawing some random doodling on this piece. It's like scales that you'd find on a fish. So I just drew lots and lots of little scales all over the Island Indigo piece with the fine tip of my marker. Okay, now I'm cutting out using the largest petal from the Blossom Builder punch. Now I'm bringing in Calypso Coral and I'm just doing really random squiggles all over here, just really scribbling. This is really fun. I really enjoyed just thinking a little bit differently to make this card. Rather than being all neat and pretty, I decided to go really outside the square with it. And here's the next petal in the Calypso Coral. Next, I'm bringing in some Pool Party and the brush tip end of the marker. And this time I'm just doing some swirls. Just doodling those in a section of the Pool Party. And again, punching those out. Now I'm bringing in the Wisteria Wonder. And using the fine tip of my marker, I'm just doing a very rough grid shape. And then coming in with the brush tip, and I'm going to colour in like a checkerboard pattern on the grid. So I'm just colouring in all that space and punching that out as my fourth petal. Now I'm bringing in a square of Lucky Limeade and the brush tip again and doing some wiggly lines. However, I ended up discarding this piece. You'll see when I go to put this card together, there's just not enough room for a fifth petal. So I decided I'd bring in the Lucky Limeade later on. Here's my regular card base. And I'm lining everything up, seeing where everything might go. And you can see how that fifth petal is there's just not room for it. So I decided to remove that, and as soon as I did, I was much happier with that shape anyway. Now I want to bring in a stem, and I want to use some of that Lucky Limeade. So I'm going to hand cut a very thin wedge from this strip. And just trimming off the base a little bit. And then I'm going to line it up and see how much I need to trim from the top of the stem, so that it will fit. Now I'm going to bring in some basic black, and I'm going to cut 3 leaves for this flower out of the smallest petal on the Blossom Builder punch. So just cutting those out and placing them roughly where I think they might go. Now I have the 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm going to punch out a basic black centre for the flower. Now I want to incorporate that stem a little bit into the background. It's sort of floating there, so to ground it I'm going to bring in my brush tip and just draw some curved lines all the way up the stem. And just roughly figuring out where I'm going to adhere everything. And I changed this a little bit once. You can see I'm thinking there. I changed this once I decide to snail everything down. It's just a little bit different the way I put it all together. So here's my snail, and I'm going to start adhering those pieces to the card. And I'm putting the petals opposite each other so that they'll be nice and even. Snailing down the stem. Now I'm going to bring in some dimensionals. I'm going to use a half a dimensional just to pop up that 3/4 inch circle in the centre. I like to pop up the centres of all my flowers where possible, just so they'll have a little bit more pop. And snailing down the 3 leaves, and I'm going to put this leaf slightly differently because I like that better. Now I'm going to make a frame. So using the fine tip marker, I'm drawing very wavy lines around the outside. And then I'm using a flicking motion with the fine tip to divide the frame into equidistant spaces, just with very short lines all around the frame. Now I'm coming in with the brush tip end of the marker, and I'm going to cover in every 3rd little square on the frame. And just continuing that all the way around, and I'm not being too particular about staying in the lines here. This is art and I'm having a lot of fun. You might prefer to be a little bit more exact when you make yours, but I'm really happy with how mine turned out. It's quite spontaneous and free, and I really enjoyed the process of putting this card together. And because it's a unique piece of art, I'm actually going to sign it on the bottom. So there it is, finished. Something very different from my usual run of cards, but it was a lot of fun and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.